Let's talk about the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE. It starts at 59,999 and today we are putting it through a gaming and performance test. I've got Battlegrounds Mobile India, Genshin Impact and Asphalt Legends lined up, and I'll also be running some benchmarks to see how the Exynos 2400 holds up. So let's get started. Before we jump into gameplay, a quick rundown. The Galaxy S25 FE is powered by the Samsung's Exynos 2400, which is a 10-core CPU with the ray tracing support baked in. And this year, Samsung has made the vapor chamber 13% larger, which should help with the thermals during long gaming sessions. You also get a 6.7-inch LTPO AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus support, and peak brightness hitting nearly 1900 nits. There's a 4900 mAh battery with 45-watt wired and 15-watt wireless charging. The phone is thinner and lighter than S24 FE, just 7.4 mm thick and weighs 190 grams. Alright, first up, BGMI. I've set it to smooth graphics and extreme frame rates. Let's see how it holds up. You can immediately see how sharp the visuals look. Samsung's AMOLED panel is doing its thing with punchy colors and deep blacks. Animations feel smooth and the touch response is on point. With GPU watch on, we are getting around 60 FPS. During heavy firefights, the frame rate dips slightly to 57 to 58 FPS, but overall, it's consistent. Input lag is practically non-existent, which is key if you're into competitive matches. Now for the real stress test, Genshin Impact. Settings are cranked to maximum 60 FPS. Let's go. This is where the Exynos 2400 flexes its ray tracing chops. Lightning effects, reflections and textures look impressive on this Full HD Plus screen. Colors are striking and transitions and camera pans look really fluid. We are hovering around 60 FPS in general, but during intensive combat scenes or when loading new areas, it can dip to 48 to 50 FPS. It's still very playable though. If you prefer absolute stability, lowering graphics will give you a better rock-solid experience. Next is Asphalt Legends. Racing games usually are more forgiving, but they are great for showing off motion handling and brightness. As you can see, everything looks vibrant here in this game. The neon tracks, the car, reflections, and the HDR support are all standing out. Even in fast-paced crashes and boosts, the panel keeps up without noticeable ghosting. Frame rates here stay mostly at 60 FPS with occasional drops to 57 to 58 FPS in scenes that have too many effects at once. Now, gaming's all fun until your phone turns into a hand warmer. After about 30 minutes of continuous gameplay, the back of the S25 FE is reaching around 44 degrees. It feels warm, but not to the point where it's uncomfortable to hold. That 13% large vapor chamber does seem to help, though in stress tests, the phone climbed to nearly 45 to 50 degrees at peak. The good news is that it cools quickly once you stop gaming. Battery-wise, on demanding titles like Genshin Impact, you are looking at about 18 to 20% drain per hour at max settings, which roughly translates to 5 hours of heavy gaming. Now, that's respectable, though not the longest lasting in this price bracket. On the numbers side, the Galaxy S25 FE scored 1.9 million on AnTuTu. We also tested Geekbench, 3D Mark Wildlife, and PC Mark Work, and you can see all of those scores on your screens right now. The CPU throttling test showed around 80% sustained performance, which is a decent result. Not class leading, but consistent with what we have felt in gaming. So, is the Galaxy S25 FE worth it at 59,999 if you're buying it mainly for gaming? I'd say yes, but with a few caveats. The Exynos 2400 is plenty powerful, the display is excellent and the cooling does its job, but you'll still see occasional frame drops in ultra-demanding titles like Genshin Impact, and thermal management isn't flawless. If you're after a well-rounded phone that can game reliably without being a dedicated gaming phone, the Galaxy S25 FE makes a strong case. But if all you care about is squeezing out every frame in Genshin or BGMI, there are gaming-focused alternatives with bigger batteries and more aggressive cooling. So that was my take on the gaming and performance of the S25 FE. For a detailed review of the S25 FE, head to digit.in and give it a read. Would you pick the Galaxy S25 FE at this price, or would you go for something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.